Hey guys, I'm Supercuts Delight, and this is a tier list video. Hopefully you enjoyed all the same from my other types of videos. I'll try to release Game of Thrones Season 8 being devoid of logic 2 on about Thursday, like June 13th-ish. I just wanted to take a one video break from making non-stop supercuts, so I just decided to make this tier list of character deaths. So there's quite a bit here, and you'll know the length of the video by how fast I'm going, but I'll try to go pretty quickly. So yeah, they're S tier, memorable, good, mediocre, plain stupid, and LMAO be gone. I'll primarily be judging the deaths off of how cool the death was and how much of an impact it had, not based on them as a character. So the first character death is Sir Barristan Selmy. I think it's just plain stupid how he died. He's one of the most legendary knights, and he just gets jumped by a bunch of Sons of the Harpy, and he had so much more to do. His death had no meaning in the grand scheme of things, and it was just a little bit of an afterthought in season 5. Benjen Stark, I'd also say plain stupid. He really had no role in the story, and he just kind of came in out of nowhere in season 7 and saved Jon Snow, and it's like, all right, I can't go with you, forehead, I have to die. For Robert Baratheon though, I would put Robert Baratheon in memorable, but since he died from a boar, I have to give him a good. His death is very significant in the story, but he just dies from a boar, and it's like, come on, Bobby B, you're better than that. But as a character, I'd put him in S tier, but he's just a good character death. Balon Greyjoy, no one fucking cares about him. LMAO be gone, dude. He's trash. Horrible character, stupid death. He just gets yeeted by Euron Greyjoy. Next, Blackfish. He dies off screen, and he's a good fighter. That's stupid. Craster, he just gets stabbed by Carl Tanner, I think. Basically just mediocre. For Catelyn Stark, I feel like anyone that died at the Red Wedding basically deserves a veteran discount. I have to put her in memorable. Although generic kind of death, getting killed by a knife, getting her throat slit, but it's just a Red Wedding, it's great. This character, I completely forget his name. He just helps Sansa, and then he just gets bolted by Littlefinger. LMAO be gone. No one knows about him. Same thing with Martell. I forget his first name. He just gets stabbed by Arya Martell, and he did nothing the whole show. LMAO be gone. And Ed Stark, definite S tier. By far one of the biggest deaths in the show that catapulted the conflict of every season. Very shocking death. No one knew it was going to happen at the time. And just a good old beheading. Ed, I'd say, is pretty stupid. It's stupid, but his death is just kind of mediocre. He just gets stabbed in the back because Sam, I don't know. It's between mediocre and just plain stupid. I'll just put it in mediocre because he's not on level with some of these characters. Euron, definitely stupid. Randomly swims ashore, and Jaime and them just fight, and he's like, I'm the one who kills Kingslayer. Gren, I'd say he's mediocre. He dies off screen, but that build up to the giant and him saying his vows with his brothers, that was really badass. If it actually showed the fight, that'd be memorable, but I'd put it down to mediocre. The High Sparrow, I'd probably put in memorable. Yeah, that great stepped explosion and the shot of him putting his arms out as he gets eviscerated was awesome. For Hodor, I say that's pretty memorable because that whole hold the door sequence was absolutely amazing. And it's just, his death had a lot of meaning in general. Although he did just get stabbed, it was still a very impactful death. Now Jaime Lannister. I'm not sure if I have Cersei in here. I think I glitched out when I was making the tier list, but I just put him with Jaime. But that's just plain stupid. Gets crushed by rocks. Him and Cersei, I'll just pair them together. Just get crushed by rocks out of all this buildup. That was just stupid. I think this guy's name is Janos Flint. Pretty badass moment for Jon Snow. Mediocre. I don't want to give him good. It's just a classic beheading. For Jorah Mormont, he does deserve a better death. I would put him in plain stupid. He just gets backstabbed, but mediocre. He's not on level with some of these other characters. Now, Sir Alliser Thorne. I was thinking about putting him in memorable, but I don't think he's on the level with these, but I'll put him in good. I'm obsessed with Sir Alliser Thorne. He's one of my favorite characters. His whole speech to Jon Snow before he died was essentially legendary, but you really understand why he did what he did. I just love the line, I fought, I lost, now I rest. Joffrey Baratheon, definitely S tier. That was pretty shocking. The whole execution of his death and him just choking and everyone around him with Cersei freaking out. That was extremely memorable and everyone wanted it to happen, and it finally happened. Jojen Reed, it was such an unmemorable death. I'm just gonna put mediocre. I barely remember him dying. I remember they were on the way and he just gets jumped by White Walkers, and that was kind of it. So it's just mediocre, I guess. Jorah Mormont, That's between good and memorable. I always put it memorable because his whole like death scene was kind of like stole episode 3 of season 8, and that was actually like a really good death scene, and Daenerys' reaction was amazing. So for Jory, I actually say it's pretty good death. It was very sudden. I really liked him at the time in season 1, and he was like one of Ed's like best men, and he just suddenly dies by Jaime Lannister with like a knife in the eye that goes out the back of his head. I thought that was just a really cool death, and it was like the first death in the show really that actually shocks you, so I'll say good. Carl Tanner, pretty good villain, mutineer. I say his death was legendary, S tier. His whole death with Jon Snow putting like his sword through the back of his skull and out his mouth was awesome. So just that alone, I have to give it S tier. And it was also like one of Jon's best fights. For her, she did get jumped by a bunch of ice zombies, but the little like kids just like jumping her, that was a pretty memorable moment, but it's not, she was like a one-off character, so I'd say good. For Khal Drogo, they did him dirty. That was a plain stupid death. He just dies from an infection. For this guy, I don't know his name, but that was a badass death though. The turn where she's just like, nah fam, I'm taking the Unsullied, and then he just gets burned alive. That was awesome. Lancel getting yeeted by the wildfire like right in front of it. That was really cool. Although he's not that cool of a character, that was an awesome death. Littlefinger, very mediocre. He had much more ahead of him. He just gets his throat sliced, so I'll just say mediocre. For Locke, he just gets, I think, his neck snapped by Hodor. It was kind of just a whatever death. It happened like really quickly, so I'll just say mediocre. For Maester Luwin, he just gets speared in the gut, and it was just really stupid death. He just bleeds out. Lyanna Mormont, death, hands down, S tier. Takes down a giant with her and getting crushed. That was the most badass death. Lysa Arryn, that was really memorable, flying out the moon door. One of the only characters to really have that happen. Maester Aemon dies from natural causes. Not stupid death. It was going to happen, just mediocre. Mance Rayder getting burned at the stake. That was a good death. Like with the mercy of Jon Snow putting an arrow in his heart. Margaery Tyrell. Anyone that really died in the Great Septic Explosion deserves to be memorable. That whole sequence was awesome. Mathos. Mathos was a small character. He did die in wildfire, and that was like a pretty cool explosion. He's the only character that actually like died in it, so I'd probably give him good. Although, I'll put it in good. Melisandre, I would put in kind of stupid, but it's just more or less just mediocre. She just turns into dust. But she did say it was going to happen. Marin Trant, that's pretty memorable. Arya basically like proving that she is like a badass assassin, and he just gets like wrecked by Arya. Missandei, I don't know. That's just mediocre. I don't know how to feel about that. Just her getting captured in the first place really has a bad taste in my mouth, and then she just gets executed, and it was just like, all right. It was just to build towards the Mad Queen. For Mycella's death, that was pretty shocking, and it was like very tragic, so I'd probably put that in memorable. Oberyn Martell, I think that's hands down one of the best deaths too. S tier for sure. Getting his head bashed in. By far one of the most shocking moments in the show as well. Lady Olenna, I'd say that's just a good death. Although she just dies kind of off screen per se. But her whole moment, that revealing that she's the one who killed Joffrey in front of Jaime, was awesome and badass. Died like a champ. And Ollie. Dude. Screw Ollie, dude. LMAO, be gone. Get him out of here. Although he's the same. He died with Sir Alistair Thorne. I put him in good, but screw Ollie, dude. No, he doesn't deserve anything. This character, too. I freaking hate him. LMAO, be gone. Get out of here. Don't like him. He just gets stabbed by Jon. He's just nothing character. No one liked him. Osha. Oh, yeah. I forgot she died. She just comes back in like one random episode and Ramsay stabs her. That was stupid. This guy, the first person that gets dragged, like burned alive by the dragons. So I'd just say that was a good death. Maester Pycelle. LMAO, be gone. He gets jumped by a bunch of kids with knives. That was a funny death. Pip, he just gets like an arrow in the neck, so that's like mediocre. Corrin Halfhand, I think that was a pretty good death. It was very meaningful. Jon Snow like proved his loyalty, and it was like a cool fight, so that was a good death. Is Ramsay S tier? That's kind of the question I'm asking myself. Why not? It was ironic that he died by his own dogs, and everyone wanted him to die. Sansa getting to kill him and all that was great. Renly dying, that was very memorable, getting stabbed by Stannis' ghost. Rickon, LMAO, be gone. Can't dodge arrows, forehead. They can't run diagonal. Get out of here. Robb Stark, definitely memorable. Anyone that dies at the Red Wedding gets memorable. Roderick, that was just kind of a stupid death. I'm still mad about that. Theon, how could you? Roose Bolton just gets stabbed by Ramsay. That was just mediocre. His whole like lip quiver thing was kind of just really weird. Ross, that was really stupid. Ross was kind of cool, but she just gets bolted out of nowhere and dies. That's stupid. Stannis' wife, I forget her first name, but that was just a stupid death. She kills herself. Shay, now that was a good death. Yeah, Tyrion struggled with that one. Now Shireen, I would put her memorable, but that was so tragic and so sad. I had to put it on S tier. There's no way. Shireen, I have to put in S tier. Stannis Baratheon, his death was kind of good, but I don't know. It's just kind of anticlimactic, so I put him in mediocre. Just gets killed by Brienne. It's good, but it's not like that good. I wouldn't put him on par with these character deaths. Syrio Forel, that was a pretty stupid death. He just dies off screen and he's like one of the best fighters. I wish he had a real sword. Catelyn Stark, anyone that died in the Red Wedding is memorable. Now the Hound's my favorite character. I'm not sure if his death deserves S tier, but hands down it deserves memorable at least. It's kind of the poetic and ironic death of he hates fire, but he hates his brother more. Though we've had a cool character death where Arya like cuts the candle in half and the lights go out, so that was like really cool. Although it's off screen, but it was pitch black, so you couldn't see. But that was so cool. I will put Tommen in good because that was just a very shocking death. I just love the lack of impact that his character kind of brought. Like Cersei by that point kind of just accepted the prophecy, and that was like her not reacting to his death was like reinforcing that idea. Tywin Lannister, hell yeah, dude, S tier. That was so iconic, just dying on the toilet by his son. That was great. Varys, I don't know. Leading up to that point was kind of just mediocre. He just gets burned alive. It's kind of ironic because he's always been dodging the bullet with the Mad King, but I don't know. It's just a whatever death. Viserys, I'd say that's S tier. Has to be S tier. That was probably one of the most unique deaths in the show as well. Walder Frey, very memorable. Arya's first like faceless kill. This guy, I forget his name, LMAO be gone. No one liked him, and he married Daenerys, but he just gets like stabbed by some Sons of the Harpy like almost off screen. Zaro Zoan Doxos, I think that's his name. That was pretty good. Gets locked in the vault with that other girl. Then just pair them, basically. So that was pretty cool. You might see that I have Ed here again, but that's just whoops. That was a whoopsie. Ygritte, I really want to put her in S. I really want to put Ygritte in S tier. I'll put her in memorable. She's like not on par with some of these other character deaths, but like she had a lot of emotional weight with her death, and I put her like at the front of memorable, kind of. Although like I'm not really ordering these. Yoren, mediocre death. Not much about that. So Daenerys' whole death kind of just felt mediocre. It was a big point in the story, but the reason why I'm gonna say mediocre is because it immediately just fades to black, and then that's it. There's no reaction to her death, and then that's kind of just it with her character. Like, there's no resolution where like, oh, where's Drogon taking her? Is Drogon taking her back to where he was born in Essos? Like, that would kind of be poetic. That Drogon like brings Daenerys to Drogon's birthplace, but they don't show any of that, and it's just very like mediocre and underwhelming. Now, for Qyburn, I would throw him in LMAO be gone, but fuck it, dude. Put him in S tier. That was such a funny death. Fuck it. I'll just throw him in S tier for the memes. That was really funny. I can watch that as many times. I can watch that over and over and over, and it's the funniest thing in the show. But yeah, this is just my overall tier list. If I missed any, I'll like put them in like right now. So hopefully you guys liked the video. I'm assuming that since you got to this point, you did enjoy it. And I'll try to get GOT Season 8 being devoid of logic 2 out in like a few days by like probably Thursday. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it and have a good day.